Hi, welcome to Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell, and today we are talking about Toy Story.
No. You're not a toy.
I'm a toy? Ah!
Hi, welcome to Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell. At the time of this recording, the Toy Story franchise is over 30 years old. To put that into perspective, the Macarena, the company Amazon, and physical DVDs themselves, they are just as old as this franchise. And let me see, we also had 5 US presidents, Y2K, COVID, there's tons of other things. I could easily list 9 or 11 more. But anyway, Toy Story has been around pretty much my entire life. And it was such a significant part of my childhood. I dressed up as him for Halloween, both characters by the way. And I even carried a Woody doll that I would bring around everywhere. I would chew the tip of the nose off. In 2010, whenever I was 13 years old, Toy Story 3 came out. I felt it was a legitimate turning of the page, so to speak.
But then we got 2 more.
Look, I don't want to harp this whole review that Toy Story 3 should have been the ending, but Toy Story 3 should have been the ending. Still, the franchise prints money, so the show must go on. Toy Story 5 sees Bonnie and her toys' worlds turned completely upside down when her parents decide to buy her a tablet. And honestly, for someone who is kind of cynical that they're making sequels after Toy Story 3, this is not a bad idea for a Toy Story sequel. The movie itself, it's incredibly sweet, surprisingly thoughtful, and at times justifies its existence. But it also reinforces that the ride should have ended sooner. The focus shifts away from Woody and Buzz, and Jessie becomes the new lead. I think it works out great because she's very confident in herself, has quite a hot-headed personality, and it keeps the overall picture very interesting. Especially when you're dealing with quite an existential threat that we didn't really see before in the other Toy Story movies. And honestly, thankfully, this movie doesn't go with the overly simplistic phone's bad message. To see this movie handle this message so lamely. A lot of people know this. Kids who hear this message over and over again from their parents and their grandparents, it can come across like their grandpa's nagging at them. Although with how old the cast is now, it might as well be their grandpa. Instead, it uses Jessie and her arc in this film as sort of a vehicle for the audience's complicated relationship with rising technology, for example, AI. It touches on our anxieties with social media, fitting in, and our fears with technological takeover and becoming redundant without sounding too preachy. And even outside the technological angle with this story, I think what they do with Jessie and how they continue her story, it's really touching, but in a way, Pixar does something that I didn't know that I needed from her story. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. Pixar got me really close to tears in that movie theater, which that is something I can honestly admit doesn't happen to me often. Jessie's storyline, it just works. Even the new toys that they introduced with Jessie, it just works. And that's where I get into the main gripe of this film, because while her side of the story, at least for me, it's firing on all cylinders. It's a genuine good continuation past Toy Story 3, you then get to the legacy characters. Like a kid that can't move on from their toys, they just have to take every toy with them. This film, it really struggles to utilize Buzz and Woody. Which this is hard for me to say because these two, they're all-timers in terms of animated duos. Woody, Buzz, Shrek, Donkey, other guys. And so it's really disappointing that these guys, they're kind of forced into the story and doing things Jessie honestly could have done herself.
Well, turns out Jessie had it all handled.
And to even attempt to justify their inclusion, the movie has to fall back on things that we've seen before from this franchise. Woody and Buzz arguing over some petty bullshit again. Buzz going amok. No. We're in a new movie. We gotta elevate the stakes a little bit. A bunch of Buzzes running amok and causing mayhem. We've done this already. Now, their inclusion here, it isn't as stupid as Toy Story 4 when Buzz, who for the past 3 movies kind of did stuff on his own, all of a sudden discovers an inner voice. Well, that shit is stupid. But it's really frustrating because the strongest material is happening elsewhere, and yet you're focusing on minion bullshit that is now infiltrating Toy Story. I don't care if I'm having a little bit of fun. Why is this here? Although as a film guy, the Carnival of Souls reference, that was really cool. As much as it pains me to say, at like an hour and 42 minutes, Buzz and Woody, you could have cut like almost all of their stuff and it would have been a much tighter film. Which is interesting because director and writer Andrew Stanton, he wrote a draft where Woody was not even in it at all. And a lot of the time when you hear like stuff like this, like trivia facts, you're thinking, oh, well, thank God they made the right decision. I don't think they made the right decision because Woody's arc, like it was long done at this point. Like if you wanted to include him in some way, like he could have had a cameo at the very beginning of this movie as sort of like the inciting conversation that starts Jessie on her arc. Like if they just stuck with his first appearance, perfect. But cameos, my friend, that's a Jim Hanks job. For those who don't know, he's the Hanks sibling that voices Woody outside all the movies.
Boy, am I glad to see you.
No, it's my brother Jim.
Whoa! Easy there, partner.
And you can't have Woody do a cameo. Cameos are not a Tom Hanks job. Tom Hanks as Woody brings him money. So... Dude, it is so ridiculous. You do focus on these guys, but then you have like all these other toys. They get so pushed to the side. Why even include all the other toys? It ends up making no sense and there's like too many characters. In the end, Toy Story 5, it weirdly reminded me of Star Wars The Last Jedi. The highs of that film are pretty high for me. Then on top of that, you get so much like side quests and BS that just, it doesn't like go with this story at all. And it just like kind of brings the overall product down. But the good is so good. Like, truthfully, a part of me wonders, like, did I grow out Toy Story? I mean, I am 28 years old. I mean, maybe these movies just aren't hitting anymore. And so not long after seeing Toy Story 5, I just rewatched the entire trilogy. And no, it still holds up. Those movies are great. So, like, it's not me. Like, those movies are such a good trilogy. It is perfect. Now, despite the problems I brought up like throughout this whole review, I didn't hate the movie overall. There was still like so much fun like throughout the film. It doesn't reach the height of that original trilogy, but it's still a pretty solid family movie. It comfortably sits above Toy Story 4, and I would give this a very low but respectable 7 out of 10. And sure, maybe I'm biased here, but like, if you don't see this movie for anything else, you gotta see it for Conan O'Brien. Like, I'm sorry, he is awesome in this movie. He's a potty training toy. It's perfect. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Toy Story 5. What did you guys think of it? What was your favorite toy growing up? Comment below and let me know. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Any help you can give my channel, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. My end of the year goal is 700 subscribers. We are so close right now. If you're able to help me reach this goal and hit the subscribe button, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Well, that's all the time we have for today here on Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell, and if you excuse me, I'm gonna add to the stash.